Hey guys, I'm Andrew with State Overland, and today we're going to take a look at my 2006 Toyota Tacoma and just kind of walk around and show you guys kind of what we've done and what I've done to make it my overlanding rig. So kind of to start to the front, big and obvious, this is a Cascadia 4x4 solar panel, so it provides 90 watts of solar energy. It's just enough to keep the refrigerator going at camp all the time. Moving on to the lighting, I have S2 Pros for my wide cornering, diadynamic selective fog lights for daily driving and daily bad weather driving, and 4 S1 lasers for super far out, a little bit faster driving, so those are about a 1.5 degree beam. Everything's mounted on an ARB bumper. We have a super winch, Tiger Shark 9,500 pound winch behind the bumper with a factor 55 closed loop system here. Antennas you're going to see on the truck, this one is going to be my ham antenna. That's the car's standard antenna, and up there is the Weeboo cellular antenna. On the far side, this truck does have a snorkel, so it's a Dobinson Racing snorkel with a snorkel upgrade pre-filter on top. So the pre-filter is kind of cool because standard snorkels, air will just get, or dirty air and water can get ingested into the snorkel. The pre-filter actually spins the air and cleans the air before it ever gets into you. So you get the benefit of a snorkel's clean air, and then you clean it up even more. Coming around to the side, Toyo MTs is what I'm running. These are 255 85/16, so they're considered pizza cutter wheels or pizza cutter tires. Going to be a little bit narrower than your standard Overland setup, but it's just my preference of better gas mileage, and it fits my driving profile a little bit better. So 33-inch tires mounted on Method. I believe these are 307s. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but on Method Racing wheels. Suspension wise, front and rear are going to be Icon 2.5. Both front and rear are going to be reservoir setups with the CDC valve adjustment and Icon upper control arms. 4X Innovations rock sliders. As you can see, these have been taking a beating here recently. Big question I get a lot is what I do about the paint. I did not powder coat mine. I chose to just use a brush and some Port 15, which I think is important because once powder coat gets chipped off, it's going to continue. So these are just hand painted. So every 6 months when I'm ready, I'll just go and clean it up. All right, now we're in the inside of the truck, and I've kind of gone with a more simplistic setup. A lot of the guys will fill up their cab with all sorts of electronics, and I used to have the same way, but it just becomes too cluttered and too much. So up here is going to be my GMRS and ham radio setup. The base unit is mounted under the seat. The head unit is up here so I can control it, and actually up here up top are remote speakers, because the speakers otherwise would be under the seat and it'd be kind of hard to hear. And the remote here is mounted on just a magnetic, I believe these are night-eyes magnetic balls, and it just sticks right there. So pretty easy access for both the driver and the passenger. For mapping, I run Gaia on my phone. So this Kenwood head unit has Apple CarPlay, so Gaia has an interface with that where instead of having a separate tablet somewhere, it just shoots it up there. It makes everything easy. So this mount right here is typically going to be for me, the driver, whoever's driving. We also have a tablet mount up here on the passenger side A-pillar for the passenger to have their own phone or whatever RAM mount they want to put on. It's important for long road trips, especially when the driver wants to just kind of relax and do their own thing. Up here also is going to be the ultra gauge. So the ultra gauge will tell me everything from transmission temperature, oil temperature, fuel ranges, and fuel burn rates. So we monitor that quite a bit with the Tacoma. Don't get the greatest gas mileage, so we do pay attention to that. Second last piece of communication that I typically carry. This is an inReach. It's a Garmin inReach setup. So this is a satellite communicator and GPS trackers. So my family and friends have this, especially when we're going on long road trips. They can pull it up on a web page and see where I am, whether I'm moving, and they can actually shoot messages to me and I can respond. So really important to have, especially when you're in the backcountry and just have absolutely no cell signal. And then lastly, this little antenna right here is the WeBoost. I have the WeBoost 4G on board, so yeah, it just allows me to stay connected. It gives us a little bit more range on our cellular coverage, and it's a great tool for emergency contact and stuff. Kind of on the technical side, I guess, up here is all my lights. So lights and air compressor switches are going to be up top for me where I can get to them very easily. And then on the bottom is everything from my communications. Camp power, refrigerator power is going to be all down low. A little bit harder to reach, but things I don't need to get to. And kind of power wise in this vehicle, I'm running dual battery. So I got two Group 31 batteries, a primary engine battery and a house battery for all the accessories. Those are being managed by a Red Arc BCDC. So the BCDC will charge the second house battery. Right here is the Red Arc monitor gauge to show the voltage for each battery separately. And then right next to it, I have a Blue Sea ACR remote connect and disconnect. So this allows me, if I do kill one of the batteries and I can't start the truck, I can remotely just push a button. It'll connect the two batteries through a 500 amp continuous duty cycle solenoid, and it'll fire the truck right up. All right, we can move on to the back. All right, in the back, not a lot going on. A lot of Blue Ridge Overland gear to help us stay organized in here. So we have their back MOLLE panel on the back of the passenger seat, and we have their rooftop, or not their rooftop, their attic here to kind of throw things like jackets and stuff like that. Typically on our trips, we won't have more than one person riding in the back, so that's kind of why it's set up this way. But I still do like it because if we do need to put an extra person in the back, we can. So trying not to clutter this area up too much. First aid kit, safety is really important to us. So this vehicle will actually run 4 first aid kits. The blue one right there is just going to be kind of your standard boo-boo kit, cuts, scrapes, stuff like that. Black is an individual first aid kit for bigger wounds, so think like deep cuts. And then the tan one right here is an individual first aid kit. Kind of the things really went wrong, so think bleeding out and stuff like that. So kind of 3 primary first aid kits for 1-2 people. And then because we typically ride in bigger groups, we'll throw one of these bags in. This is a combination of both the brown and the black first aid kits, except this will support up to 4 people. So we always carry the first aid kits with us. And then behind the seat is where we're going to carry things like extra fluids and fire extinguishers. All right, just kind of going back to the rear end and the front end real quick on the drivetrain. So we did re-gear this truck to 456, so it's got 456 Revolution gears, front and rear lockers. So stock rear locker, that's the E-locker that Toyotas come with, and then add an ARB front locker right up here. Another thing just to note is the winch can be operated remotely as normal, or we actually do have a remote winch setup where without the controller, the driver can operate the winch from the inside. Kind of the more overlanding and living and camping side of the truck, we have a Kinsman hardware awning. So this is going to be a 270 awning, super fast deploy, all steel construction. You can hang off of it. And to be honest, it's, I think, one of the best and one of the strongest awnings that are out there on the market. That's going to be mounted to a custom tube frame. Just didn't find anything that I liked for the soft topper setup, so I wanted a metal structure on top of the soft topper that could take a load and take the force of wind on this awning. So this is 1 3/4 inch DOM tube that me and a buddy kind of made ourselves and kind of welded it together in place. Everything's removable on it. It's all connected using 1/4 20 hardware. So we pull out 8 bolts and the whole cage lifts up. Moving to the back, the big thing is going to be the Dometic cooler. So this is a 60-quart Dometic cooler. It's enough for probably about 3 people for 3 or 4 days of food, and depending on what beverages you carry, will kind of determine how much food you can carry. So that's on a Dometic slider that we actually made our own tilt setup. So that's just a door hinge that we mounted to this so we can tilt it down. Otherwise, the 60 being so tall and me being so short, it's kind of hard to get to the inside. In the back, kind of hard to see, but there's a 10-pound propane tank and also carrying 10 gallons of fresh water on board, mainly just to be used for washing hands and washing dishes. Under the fridge is going to be 2 drawer systems, so this is another custom built drawer. This drawer is kind of set up mostly for the cooking, so utensils, koozies, knives, lighters, trash bags, stuff like that. Kind of the first 3/4 of it is going to be the cooking stuff, and then towards the back, things that I'm going to get to less are things like fuses, tools, soldering irons, and torque wrenches. So kind of organize it, the things that I'm not going to use in the back and things I'm going to use more in the front. So over here in the larger drawer is kind of going to be the exact same setup. So in the back is my tool bag, tire puncture kits, cleaning supplies, things that we're just not going to get to camp very often. And then up here in the front, we've got our pots and pans, any extra propane, knives, cutting sets. Again, things that we're going to get to usually. So this is something we built ourselves. So it's just 3/4 ply. If you can kind of look over here, we're not using any rail system. This is just a 3/4 by 3/4 steel tube. And the bearings that this is riding on, I believe there's 32 bearings on each side. These are just skateboard bearings. So kind of rounding it out, just using a 2-burner Camp Chef stove. Pretty much everything we cook, depending on the trip, sometimes we'll do more lavish meals or full meals for the team, but kind of lately here we've been doing more quick meals, sandwiches, stuff like that. But if we do need it, it's here, and then the propane that's in the back is run remotely directly to the stove, so we don't have to deal with little bottles. And then sleeping, this is a CVT clamshell, so it's 2+ person, so it's enough for about 2 people to sleep in. Super quick setup, takes about 30 seconds to set up and about a minute or 2 to put it down. So the tire carrier is a 4X Innovations tire carrier. Tire carrier and rear swing out. Spare tire, full-size spare is mounted on the back. This is, I actually rotate the tires with it, so I'm doing a 5-tire rotation. Carry 2 jerry cans, both 20 liters each, and with a high lift jack on the back. So that's pretty much the entire truck as it is right now. It's a work in progress, and it's a project that's pretty much been never ending for the last few years. So that wraps up the Tacoma's walk around video. This truck's been in a work in progress for a long time. We have some cool new things coming for it. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow to keep following its build. And if you have any questions about this build or any of our other builds, make sure to leave a comment and we'll answer those as soon as we can.